Welcome back to the Davening Experience. First things first, I want to thank everyone for all of the positive feedback. It keeps me going. Second of all, the nature of these little clips make it difficult to keep everything in mind that we've discussed in the past. We don't have a lot of time to focus on context. So instead of things being completely out of context, I want to just very, very quickly go through, in a nutshell, what we spoke about so far so that we can go on. The first things first, when we begin our Shemona Esrei, we begin to focus on what is our purpose in general, and what's our purpose in davening? Our purpose, of course, as we mentioned, is to build the chair, the throne of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, each one of us in our unique way, with our unique talents. And in case you had any doubt about that, you woke up this morning, and we say, Rabba emunasecha, that if we woke up, HaKadosh Baruch Hu trusts us, and that's what we're here to do, to fulfill our purpose. So next we move on to the topic of Gevura, the might of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is no clearer anywhere than in the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can do Tichias HaMesim, that he can revive the dead. Something that we have no control over is life in its essence, and certainly not over death. So we see that in miniature, we mention, by rain, that we can have something that looks to be very much dead, and when the rain comes, it can very much come back to life. And that's supposed to be a hint to us, to remind us. It's a life parable, that this is actually what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing, and that's what we discussed in a nutshell so far. Now we're up to Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayeh Meisim B'Rachamim Rabim. Translates into that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Mechalkel Chaim, he sustains life, living things, with Chesed, with loving kindness. Mechayeh Meisim B'Rachamim Rabim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu revives the dead with tremendous mercy. So we're talking about the bookends of our lives, from beginning to end, when we are alive and when we die and when we are revived. And it's interesting to note that there is a difference between chesed here and rachamim. That while we are alive, we are told that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu for this, that he is sustaining us every moment with loving kindness. Sometimes it is undeserved, it is unearned, and he sustains us with pure loving kindness that we don't deserve at all. Tchias HaMesim is similar but different, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu revives the dead with rachamim rabim, not with chesed. Life is chesed, but Tchias HaMesim is rachamim rabim. On the one hand, when it comes to Tchias HaMesim, we're not perfect. We didn't lead perfect lives. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that very well. That's why he sustained us with chesed our whole life. But when it comes to Tchias HaMesim, it can't be pure chesed, because there has to be a degree of earning it. And that's why we say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu revives the dead with rachamim rabim. Now, rachamim for a human being means mercy. It means that a person's emotional strings have been pulled, and I feel bad for this person. I'm going to help him because I feel bad. That's rachamim, it's mercy. But Kadosh Baruch Hu, obviously there's not the same type of thing. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have emotions that control him. But what it means to say is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has mercy in the sense that he looks for positive ways to interpret our behaviors, our intentions. HaKadosh Baruch Hu works measure for measure, midah keneged midah. The way that we act, the way that we behave, HaKadosh Baruch Hu responds to us in kind, like a shadow. Hashem tzilcha, al yad yaminecha, that Hashem acts as our shadow, midah keneged midah, measure for measure. The way that we act is the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu acts towards us. And if he's going to interpret what we do positively, that's because we interpret what we see positively. Meaning, when we see something happen and we judge favorably, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu responds to us by judging us favorably. Mechayeh Meisim berachamim rabim, with tremendous mercy, with not looking at a negative interpretation of what we did, what we thought, what we felt, but rather looking at it with a positive interpretation by judging us fairly, because that's hopefully what we did during our lives. So what we're saying right now is that from beginning of life to end of life to the revival from death, Hashem does chesed and rachamim. Don't let his might frighten you, his gevura be scary. His might is filled with chesed and rachamim from beginning to end.